Everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Training. I hope you're having a fantastic week. As always,
we are live from Austin, Texas, right here at Insurance Syndicate headquarters. And man, we have a great show for you.
What is happening? Good morning, everybody. Hope y'all are having a fantastic Tuesday. It's another beautiful one here in Austin, Texas. Let's go. Drop them in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Get excited. We got a good show for you guys today. Hope you guys are tuning in, ready to learn how to streamline some of your Medicare processes for client onboarding. We want to make your life simpler, help you create more conversions, more sales, and just have a little more time on your hands. If that sounds good, can I get an amen? Let's go. Got a little bit of news we're going to jump into. And as always, this show is brought to you by DFY CRM. It's my CRM of choice. DFY 2.0 is about to drop. And I'll tell you this, Eric gave me a behind the scenes look at it. It's outstanding. Absolute magnificent uplift, facelift that they are putting on the platform. If you're interested, you're looking for a good CRM that includes all the stuff, all the things that you need, right? Your automations, your funnels, your web pages, your landing pages, your forms, your AI, your chatbots, all of that stuff, your policy management, your policy summaries. It's all in there. And it's coming for 2.0. Check it out. Moving along, I want to jump into a little bit of news. Like I said, give me a moment to share my screen with you. Some fairly interesting stuff that I want to show y'all. So right here, this first article, boom. This is actually from Politico. I'm not going to jump into all of it, but there's a couple of statements that I want to hit that I think are pretty interesting. It says here that the Medicare tweak Republicans are eyeing for their mega bill, the big, beautiful bill, is actually bipartisan. And it says here that Democratic Senator Jeff Merkley said he supports the policy at issue, though not the process that the GOP might use to interact it. What is he talking about? Well, it says here that a Medicare proposal some Republicans want to include in their sweeping mega bill has the backing of a key Democratic senator. Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon said in a statement that he stands behind the No Upcode Act. The No Upcode Act. As you know, there's been a lot of stuff going on with Medicare Advantage plans, many of them getting sued for the practice of upcoding. So they're going to put an act together that they want to include in the big, beautiful bill, and it is co-sponsored with Louisiana Republican Bill Cassidy, and it tackles tools that Medicare Advantage plans use to get higher payments from the federal government. And he says that it's common sense that health insurance shouldn't be allowed to overcharge taxpayers for the care they deliver. I agree with that, and it's nice that we're getting some bipartisan support on it. It doesn't go into detail in regards to the measures they're actually going to take on implementing the No Upcode Act or how they're going to manage the insurers. I assume maybe stricter prior authorizations. I don't really know. Kind of curious about that. But I'll give you one more statement at the bottom of it. It says here that to say that the No Upcode Act has bipartisan support, it's an understatement. So everybody is behind it up there. We're just going to see how they put it together, get it in the big, beautiful bill, or the mega bill as they're calling it, and get that pushed through. Interestingly enough, there's another article here from CBS News. This one says Kevin Hassett says if the Senate finds Medicare abuse, then, well, we would look at it, of course. And there's talking about specifically the Trump bill. But again, I'm not going to go through the whole article. Just want to point out a few statements that I think are a bit telling. White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett said Sunday the Trump administration is not targeting Medicare in its sweeping budget proposal, but signaled the administration would be open to changes if senators uncover fraud or abuse as they look at the bill. If someone finds waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare, then of course we would look at it, Hassett said. But there have been a lot of false stories about Medicare being on the table, and it's totally not on the table. Those are his words, not mine. So there's certainly, as you all know, right, there's been a lot of fear mongering about Medicare cuts being in the big, beautiful bill, being one of the big agendas of the new conservative administration. And this gentleman here is saying, and again, he's the White House National Economic Council Director, whatever that means necessarily. And he is saying, absolutely, Medicare is not on the table. Now, there's a little bit of dichotomy between those two articles. That first one I told you definitely talked about Medicare stuff. Obviously, it's eyeing Medicare Advantage items. And I can only assume that Mr. Kevin Hassett here is specifically talking about original Medicare. So again, I'm not going to go through the whole article because that is really about all it is. They do talk about some fraud, waste, and abuse in Medicaid, but nothing in Medicare. And they also state that, hey, we have no cuts planned for original Medicare. So maybe take that with a little peace of mind. Moving on, I got one more, and then we're going to jump into our super feature guest for the day. This one hits home, I think, a bit more. This is an article from Medscape, and I am going to go through this one in a little bit of detail with you. It's a little shorter, but the top line headline there says, Medicare Part D cancer drug launch prices soar past inflation. The top line, launch prices for Medicare Part D anti-cancer drugs have risen sharply since 2012, with the mean increase of $1,694 per year. In 2025, the observed prices were 15 to 200% higher than expected if the increases were due to inflation alone. It goes on to say under methodology that the Inflation Reduction Act introduced price negotiations for Medicare covered drugs and required manufacturers to pay rebates, but it did not address launch prices for new drugs, right? It's only dealing with drugs that are already out to market, not launch prices of new drugs. So basically these drugs can come in at a super high launch price, knowing that they're going to have to face negotiations later. Goes on to say that anti-cancer drugs, a protected drug class with mandatory Medicare Part D coverage, may now be especially prone to higher launch prices, in part because the Inflation Reduction Act limits out-of-pocket spending and price increases after market entry. Researchers identified 86 branded, self-administered, molecularly targeted anti-cancer therapies approved by the FDA between January 2010 and December 2024. Data on drug prices were obtained from the Medicare Prescription Drug Plan formulary and adjusted for inflation. The researchers looked at launch prices by year and compared drug prices in 2025 with those expected if launch prices, again, had increased only due to inflation. The mean, check this out. This is the big takeaway. The mean monthly launch price increased from $10,954. That is the average monthly cost for that drug. That's what it was. It increased from almost $11,000 for drugs in the Medicare formulary, and that was from 2012 to 2014, to now $27,891 for drugs first observed in 23 to 2025. So that means if your client is diagnosed with cancer, and again, these are self-administered drugs. So these are getting from, this isn't radio and chemo and stuff that's administered and covered under Part B, as in boy. These are self-administered drugs they get from the pharmacy. The new average mean monthly cost for newly launched anti-cancer drugs is almost $28,000 a month. After adjusting for inflation, the mean launch price increased by $1,694 per year, $1,694. In 2025, actual drug prices were 14.8% to 200.9% higher than expected. Again, if it had only kept with inflation. Man, if that is not testimony that you need to be selling cancer insurance to even your Medicare supplement clients, I don't know what is. I mean, it's a no-brainer to be selling it to your Medicare Advantage people because it's one of the largest gaps that exist in Medicare Advantage plans. 20% co-insurance just for Part B treatment of cancer, much less, right, what they might face under Part D side. But even your Medicare supplement clients are not immune to high cost of cancer. There are numerous excellent cancer products out there, Mutual Omaha is my personal favorite. I'm not here to shill for them. That's my go-to product, but Aetna's got one, United National Life, GTL, Heartland, Cigna. There's no shortage. Find your favorite one and start taking care of your clients, man. With that said, I want to get our guest on. I am super, super excited to bring this gentleman on. Second time appearance here on Tuesday Training. He's coming to us from Pacific time, so he is super up early, right? You'll notice it's kind of dimly lit in his room. He's up very early, probably for the crack of dawn, but I believe he is running for president. Please welcome to the stage again, Mr. Dalton Miller. What is going on, my friend?
Long-time listener, second-time attendee. It's an honor, Tony.
Man, it's good to have you.
I'm excited to be here. When I see that, I want to talk about how excited I am to be here, but I want to talk about what you just brought up. I'm not an actuary, a pharmacist, an oncologist. I'm candidly, I'm not a financial planner or a wealth manager. I'm a Medicare agent. And the first thing that I think of when I see that news about, these increasing launch prices is anytime that a beneficiary goes to get a prescription and it's not what they expect in terms of cost on their end, the first person that they're going to call is a Medicare agent, because that's who offered them the plan that is now, interacting at the pharmacy, or they're having that experience, they're having that transaction. And that's alarming to me, because anytime something's different than from the status quo, whether that prescription decreased in price, which as we know rarely happens today, even though we're every government agency seems to make that an initiative, it never really takes place, or that drug price increases dramatically on the other end, it creates a disturbance. And that disturbance creates a phone call to you and creates work. And you talked about folks who are on a supplement, that the ending resulting work on your end as a Medicare agent is, in many cases, and I don't mean to talk disparagingly about our industry, but it's fruitless. Serving someone on their Part D plan from a financial transaction might make you $1.50 a year. And Tony, I don't think that that's going to do much to move your bottom line. And if we're going to be motivated as insurance agents, it helps to get paid for the work we do, not to mention, to retain our clients and serve the people that we want to serve. Shopping Part D plans, shopping Medicare Advantage plans is difficult too, but shopping Part D plans is so tough. And so as we're getting ready for this fall, getting your systems in order couldn't be more important. Because I look at that and I'm like, I don't know. And maybe many of your listeners probably feeling the same way. I don't know my first reaction to that. How is that going to impact me in my business? And the first thing that I think of that you can do as an agent is understand what prescriptions your clients are taking. That's something that you should know year after year after year after year. It's not the first discussion and then you're done. If somebody wants to shop your plan, there's some stuff we got to know about you. And what prescriptions you take is certainly one of them. And for those folks out there, we hope it's not those expensive cancer drugs, but when those situations come up, and they do, we got to make sure that we're prepared. So I'm excited to be here with you this morning, and happy Tuesday from Los Angeles, California. It's not Austin, Texas. We've got some disturbances in our city this morning, but I hope all is well in Merwin land.
Yeah, everything is good. We got some disruptions in downtown Austin going on too. Nothing nearly as severe as what you're dealing with out there, but yeah, I'm just like you. I'm far away from that and enjoying working. So is what it is.
I have a question before we get started here.
Go for it.
First of all, I know you're buddies with Eric Fierro. I'm excited to see Done For You 2.0. Eric is a force in our industry, and tell him and I'll tell you, I want a little background peek on what's going on back there. Hit me up. I want to see, because I like
Absolutely.
I'm curious and rooting for him. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, he gave me a little inside look last week, and I was thoroughly impressed with some of the upgrades and new items that he's bringing to the table for us. So I will definitely plug you again and see if I can get you guys connected and a little secret view for you.
I want to see what it's about. I'm always
absolutely. Right on, right on. You brought up, the fact that one of the big issues with drug plans right now, and you mentioned, that it's tedious, right? It's difficult. It's a kind of a pain in our butt sometimes,
sure.
Especially when it's not all just simple. Like, oh, cool, I'm taking 5 generics and they're all super easy. Like we have people with complicated cases. Oplazura is one that I've been dealing with lately. I've got a few clients that I found out were all using Oplazura or Opsolu. I can't even remember now. Oplazura skin cream.
Yep.
It's about $2,000 a tube. Nothing major. it's pricey. And I found that in their case, like sending them to Canadian med store is the best deal for them. I can actually get them about a 50% discount on it. So learning to find those solutions is useful. But and it's funny because now we have a massive Part D market compared to what it was like in 05 and 06 when it was created. And I was there at launch time. And it was actually one of the things.
I wasn't quite there.
I was there at launch time. I remember when Medicare supplement plans, HI and J were eliminated, and there were no more drug benefits in those. Some people were grandfathered in for a little bit, but then everything moved over to Part D. And I remember there was a lot of drugs back then, but there wasn't nearly the issue that it is now. There wasn't as many drugs. There wasn't as many experimental items. There wasn't all of this new drug research and this explosion of pharmaceuticals that are on the industry. And certainly the prices weren't nearly what we're facing now. But you want to talk about tedious. Like sometimes when I hear agents talk about how tedious it is to deal with someone's medications and fixing them, finding them with all of the tools that we have. I mean, we have Connecture, we have Sunfire that help us sort them out and find them quick. We have Medicare.gov that we can use even if we don't have access to those. We have tools like what you have that bring us that information in a simple to digest intake form so we can do it quick. You've got new integrations that streamline that process. We got tools like Norma Johnson's platform that allows us to research problem drugs and find state pharmaceutical programs and all these things. And in a few cases, we still might, it's kind of gone back. We're either making zero or maybe we'll make about $25, it seems, on some of these products now that we're selling. I remember back in 05, we didn't have any of the tools. We didn't have the drug lists weren't as big. They weren't as problematic, but everything was on paper.
Yep.
And I remember, and then the commission was $25. And I remember agents would bitch and moan. They did not want to deal with it because they would have to get a list of the drugs. They'd have to grab the United Healthcare formulary, flip through it, mark, okay, lisinopryl's tier 1, and they go up there, okay, Novolog's tier 3, and have to mark all that, then add it up themselves, and then go find the Humana book, then go find the Cigna book, and do all of those little things, and then graph it up, and then at the end, there's your $25. And that was honestly like an hour to 2 hours of your work if you did it diligently. As a true independent agent. And I certainly understood the argument that agents had back then because it was definitely time consuming and problematic and very low commissions. And my only statement to them was like, you guys need to understand this is a problem that all your clients have. And if you learn to solve it, you're going to make more Medicare supplement sales and more other sales. Like just learn it, figure it out, and then I gave them a few paths. And it was what I did that helped me launch my Medicare supplement distribution. Because I was fresh on the market as a wholesale, or in the business kind of as a wholesale marketer. And I learned Part D inside and out, man. And I would do live conference calls teaching all these agents. Then they would all call me and then I would get all Medicare supplement contracts with them. And boom, next thing I know, we had a massive distribution. It was great. So learning, that's one lesson in learning that a problem creates an opportunity that can create, monetization, which is actually where you kind of come in too, because you saw the problem in a different way than just like, we have to write these plans. They're tedious and there's not a lot of commissions in them. And then you're like, well, how can I just make it super fast? Right? Because let's face it, your income is tied to both the size and frequency of problems that you solve. So this is a small problem, but it's unfortunately a required problem to solve for our clients. But so because it's a small problem, we get a small commission. And now in some cases, we're not even getting a commission. So you're like, how can I just do it that much faster in volume?
Right. Right.
And then you guys created Retire Flow.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We're so glad that we did. You're talking about, I bet I'm just, I wasn't there, but I would imagine that if I was flipping through that book, checking those formularies constantly, that you probably get pretty good at it over time. And it sounds like maybe you could have been a shadow nighttime pharmacist if you wanted to, but that's not the case anymore for these agents. You don't have to do that. And thank goodness. But at the same time, shopping Part D plans has become a little bit of a necessary evil. And, I hear from agents a lot, especially with recent news about Part D plans going non-commissionable, where they just want to throw their hands up in the air and say, I don't want to do it. Right. I don't want to do it. And you know what? That's a fair reaction. That's a fair reaction. They could say, I'm going to send my people to Medicare.gov, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to let them shop this on their own. I'm going to give them instructions. And that's fair. That's fair. I don't want anybody who's listening to this to think that I don't understand that, because I do. However, it is so risky to let the clients that you serve, that you protect, that you've worked so hard for, to find guidance on their own. I wrote an article about it on LinkedIn. If anybody's listening, you can go look it up on my LinkedIn page. It's about what me and my dad at our home agency are going to do this fall, and how we're reacting to the way that the insurance companies are treating us in this space, and how we're going to serve our Part D people. At my home agency, we got 25,000 beneficiaries. Probably about half of those beneficiaries have a Part D plan with us. I mean, that's pretty overgeneralization, but it's the case. That's a lot of people. And we don't have a big staff. Okay. We're not a monster call center. We got about 8 people who are working on this. And when you have 12.5 on Part D plans, that's a problemo. Okay. So how we're handling this, and I think it's an important message for everybody who's listening. And this is not an ad for Retire Flow. In fact, it's not. It's a key part of it. But you have to pick. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Go look for the yellow and see what we're doing about our Part D plans. But you have to pick a system and go from there. And you got to stick with it, because the rain is going to come. Okay. The rain is going to show up. You're going to have a tough AEP this year, just like we did last year. And agents who had success sort of rode the wave. They embraced the chaos a little bit and said, I know that these formularies are going to be a lot different for my folks. I'm going to get out ahead of it. And so what my recommendation to everybody who's listening to this call who's a Medicare agent is get out ahead of it. And what I mean is get the things that you need to shop your clients' plans this fall. Get it before October 15th. Get it before October 1st. I'm going to say something wild, Tony. Get it before September 1st. Okay. It's a beautiful time of year. We all love July and August and September. Okay. But that doesn't mean that we get to take a break. Instead, let's send some thoughtful emails and use tools like Retire Flow to go out and collect this data. So that way it's ready come October 15th. So, I think about our mutual friend, Justin Brock, who told me about a time where there was an agency in the neighboring town, not too far where he lives, but in a neighboring town, that did not shop Part D plans, or they stopped. And so, and I appreciate this tactic because I like some guerrilla warfare. He bought a billboard in the neighboring town that said, at BBI, we will shop your Part D plan. And I think he cleaned up. And while I think there's a lot of agents out there who want to throw their hands up in the air and say, I don't want to do it, there are people out there who will. And people who have larger resources than you do. Whether it might be the insurance companies that while we are stumping for their product, and sometimes they compete with us. Sometimes their captive agents call and offer, maybe transitioning that person to a Medicare Advantage plan, which it's a dirty little secret that happens in our industry, and it's really crappy, and And it comes from a person of authority. If somebody from a, Fortune 500 company calls you that you already have a plan with and says, I would like you to, why don't you check out this Medicare Advantage plan? Your client might want to take them up on that. And remember, that's your client. It's shared with that insurance company a little bit, but we have to, in order to prevent against that, and you know this better than anybody. And I'm curious to hear about what you're going to do this AP, because I think you have the perfect storm of systems, but we have to get in front of our people. If you do not talk to them, someone else will.
100%. It amazes me how arrogant some agents can be, is like thinking that they're so good that their client would never entertain a conversation with another agent.
Right.
Come on, man. It's not whether your client would choose to go out and do it. It's the fact that they are bombarded. And some people that are getting them on the phone, let's face it, they're really good at sales.
Yes. Like
they're going to find the language that lights your customer up and gets them to bounce.
LeBron James is the best basketball player because he continues to play. He didn't win rings and then sits on the bench and says, well, now I'm the player with the longest longevity. No, he's got the most points because he goes in the game and plays. And so you can't have a laissez-faire attitude as an agent. I mean, I think there are some agents out there who are strapped for resources and who want to get organized and are worried about, oh my gosh, there's all these ways that I can do this. I'm going to be honest with you. You can do it for somewhere around $30 a month with Retire Flow. Okay. Like if you can't swing that, then I guess you can send people to Medicare.gov, but I sure wouldn't. And I would look at a tool like Retire Flow to manage this for them.
Absolutely. You had mentioned it was risky, right? And obviously one risk we just hit, right? Which is possibly losing your loyal clients to other people that are willing to do some work, right? And I just had a flash that's basically that other agent is using that opportunity as a value ladder option to get them in, even though it's not any real money for him. He's getting them in to put them in a funnel, to get them going, to try to market to them and find other ways.
Yep.
Are there other risks outside of losing your business to another agent, in your opinion, and just sending someone to Medicare.gov?
Yes, a massive one. Your clients will make a mistake. And your clients are not licensed Medicare agents, despite how much they talk to their neighbor about their Medicare plan, which happens. These people are going to make a mistake. And, while it's one thing to plug in your prescriptions into Medicare.gov and find a plan, many of these folks who don't even understand the basic difference between Medicare Supplement and Medicare Advantage. Somebody might move to a Medicare Advantage plan where their doctor, like we're talking about these cancer drugs, their oncologist is not in network because it covers a prescription different. And I don't know if beneficiaries listen to your show. Maybe some do. Doubtful. But the message I say to beneficiaries is work with a local agent. Rely on somebody. There's a reason why we do this. It's because we know about it. And so don't let your clients make a mistake, because ultimately that mistake reflects on you. If you go to someone and say, I'm not going to shop your Part D plan this year, go to Medicare.gov, and I go and I enroll myself in a Part D plan and I make a mistake. I forget to put a drug in. I don't realize how this is going to impact, with upcoming formulary changes, and I make an ill-informed decision. I'm as the beneficiary, I'm grumpy at the agent saying, guys, I made this mistake. I didn't know what I was doing. You used to do this for me and now you don't. And so you also risk just grumpy clients and people who, expected a service from you that they can no longer provide. It's one thing to say, hey, we're going to change up our system a little bit this year, and we're going to ask you to put a little good in advance using a system like Retire Flow. But on the back end, I'd rather you ask for something and then, serve somebody well rather than have somebody grumpy on at the end on December 8th when they can't make a change.
Absolutely. I've been kind of battling with how we would handle people or will handle people or are handling people who are only using us for the drug plan and they don't have any other product with us yet. Right.
Yeah.
And knowing that in a lot of cases, I'm probably just going to end up shoving them into a product that pays me zero commissions. There may be some cases where I make 20 or 25. Maybe I get lucky and get the full rip on a couple, and we'll see what 2026 has in store as well. Because we're already seeing, we already know that there's multiple carriers that have either said no commissions or very, very little. So it wouldn't surprise me in 2026 to see everybody just go zero commission on PDP, maybe minus their very top end one or something. But
Tony,
we'll see.
I'm gonna say something wild, and I'll just share with you what I'm thinking in my home agency. I'm gonna assume that we're not gonna get a Part D commission.
Right. I'm running with that assumption. Right. I'm not planning that in my revenue.
Right.
If that makes right.
Yeah, it's not going to be there in
right.
the future. It's a horrible thing, but it's the reality. I feel like Paul Revere, it's like this Part D commission crisis is coming. Get prepared. And, these insurance carriers, well, I know the local rep. Okay, well, it's not the local rep who's making the decision. You guys might be buddies. You might go out to lunch. It's somebody in an actuary's office. And let me talk about that a little bit. And I hope that there are insurance carriers listening to this because there should be. And these insurance carriers made and this is the one thing they're really good at is making sure that their actuaries identify risk, what's coming in the future. And these insurance carriers made a glaring error, it seems to me, or maybe it was intentional, I don't know, about utilization. They thought that if they priced these things a certain way and put a drug like Jardiance on with that it's incredibly expensive, delivering that to the end beneficiary at low cost, that they weren't going to get a ton of utilization. And that's a crazy thought. And so when they're upside down on these Part D plans, I am shocked to see, and I am hurt by, as an agent, the fact that the first thing they cut is agent commissions. And what I liken that to, and I wrote a really toothy article about this, and I never posted it because I felt like it was too controversial. But I'll say a little bit what I wrote in this article, which is, you flashed up the article that it became. That was the PG version. The one I wrote was rated R, about how insurance companies landed on Boardwalk or Park Place with a hotel on it. Okay. And their bill was $5,000 and they can't afford to pay it. So what do? You start mortgaging your properties. You start mortgaging your monopoly properties. And the first thing that they mortgaged, and this is what you do in monopoly, but it hurts because it feels like it's us, is they mortgage Baltic. The Baltic property that sells when you mortgage it, you get $20. Okay. That's what they mortgaged. And we're Baltic. Okay. That's not going to help them pay Boardwalk and Park Place their $5,000 hotel bill. It's not going to do it, but it's the first thing they chopped. And I was offended by that. I think agents should be offended by that. And I think
you're definitely not alone in that feeling.
It's the goofiest thing on planet Earth. And it's like, how about we look at some actuaries and say, hey, maybe do a better job next time. Thanks.
Yeah.
So we don't piss off our sales force who goes out there and stumps for our products every day.
Yeah. 100%. And I love the fact that
even knows what the heck I'm talking about.
No, and in a lot of cases, I blame the legislation that put the carriers in that spot 100%.
Sure.
Like you can't, it was a math equation. You can't take from one side of the equation and not refill it on the other side. And certainly, we were part of the math that ended up mathing out to help him.
Yes.
Is what it is.
We were just a cog in it. And I don't, as an agent, that's why I'm stumping for these people all the time, is that, agents across America, is because in this case, they got the shaft.
Yeah.
And they were the first ones to go. They're the first person to get killed in the horror film. We don't get to make it to the end and get renewed for the next season. So it's tough. But with that being said, I do want to talk about, all right, this has happened and this is happening.
Right. Like it's a done deal. Like, now how do we go forward and run our business? So that's where I was kind of leading to. Like I've been kind of working in my brain, like, how am I going to deal with people that get into our funnels that I can't rewrite their Medicare supplement because they don't qualify. And they're looking for help on their drugs. So I have two options. I can help them with their drug plan, hope I make $1, right? I probably won't, which means I'm working for free, which is not a good business model. So I have to create a process that is so high. Either I have to make two decisions. I either tell those people, no, sorry, unless you're and this has kind of been our thought process. If you're not our Medicare supplement client, we're not going to service your Part D plan alone. Like I can't do that. I can't pay the bills and the rent with that. But then there's that other side of me that sees the marketing opportunities. Like, well, even if I can't rewrite their Medigap plan and I don't want to convince that person, or maybe even switching to a Medicare Advantage could be in their best interest. A lot of times it's not, right? Just really depends on the scenario. So is there some instances where I could take those people, flip them to an MA, make them a happier person, round them out? Absolutely. But if they're dead set on their Meds Up, I can't switch them because they got a great Meds Up. I still don't. I'm too big of an ass. I'm not big enough. I'm a big asshole. I'm not a big enough asshole to say, go away.
Yep.
I'm still going to be talking to Miss Betty, and she's like, no, I love my Plan F. It's great. It's awesome. It's expensive, but I can't switch. I know the situation, but I'm not giving it up. Can you help me bring these drug prices down so that I can better afford my Plan F?
100%. It's a hard situation, but there is an answer, Tony. And I think you have it. I think there's agents across the country who have this solution. And I think it's a two-part solution. Here it is, in my opinion. And you go through this every day. I don't write as much business as I used to. We were talking about this. But my home agency does, and I am incredibly tuned in with what this process is.
Certainly.
Like. I'm obsessed with it. It's all I think about. You have to be clear about your expectations to your clients who want to shop their Part D plans. And you have to be impeccably clear. And you should be way out in front of it. And today we're recording this on June 10th. Gather your administrative assistant or gather somebody in your office, your other agents, sit down and say, we need to build a plan on how we're going to communicate these people and what is our system going to be. And I've got a damn good suggestion for you. Okay. Here it is. In the months of, I would argue probably late July, anything time post 4th of July is fine. August, September, October. Use this time to collect the data that you need to shop people's plans. And when I say collect the data, use a system like RetireFlow, which, by the way, is a game changer and did not exist in 2023. And now we serve 8,000 agents across the country, and we're really proud of it.
Quick, hey, if you're a RetireFlow user, drop it in the comments. Just put, hey, love RetireFlow.
Yeah, and I bet there are some, and we're really proud.
There's definitely some. I see them.
And we're going to be serving a whole heck of a lot of agents this year. My goal is to serve 20,000 across the country, and I think we'll hit that. But in our system is I don't want to sound like the president of the United States, but it's a beautiful system. It's beautiful. Okay.
It's excellent. There's no system like it. It's the best.
It's fantastic. But what it is it's a tool that it's basically an online survey that you can send to your clients and prospects in advance of a meeting. It's like an intake form that you can call it that. You call it a survey, whatever it is. And it's a incredibly senior friendly 9-question survey that helps you capture drugs, doctors, hospitals, pharmacies. On those drugs, they're spelled right every single time. Dosage, quantity, frequency, package, brand of the generic, everything you need to run a quote. You get permission to contact and you get a signed scope of appointment before you ever meet that client. So basically, we're going to go out and gather everything you would ever need to get a quote. And where you get that quote is totally up to you. You know, I often recommend these folks because they're about as good as it ever gets in this game. I'm very, very proud of our relationship with Connecture DRX. But whatever tools you use, whether it's Medicare.gov, you know, folks use Sunfire, they use the carrier sites, whatever. But RetireFlow is designed to go out there and collect that data that you need and present it to you in a nice, easy way. You know, so that way you can say, all right, Susie Senior's coming in on a meeting. Here's what she told me. She tells me that she takes atorvastatin, Advair, and Synthroid. I'm going to go out and run a quote for her. And Tony's showing you here on the screen what our RetireFlow surveys look like. This is what they look like. They're incredibly easy to use. So you're sending this to your beneficiary. It's got your picture on it. It translates into Spanish. It's got your logo. It tells people where you're licensed to do business in your hometown, all the goods. And it walks them through it step by step, one question at a time. And this works great on their phone, their tablet, their iPad, their computer, their Kindle. But it's going to collect those goods, okay? And it's going to give that back to you in a way that's easily formatable that you can go out and run your quotes. You can take that data. It automatically goes into Done For You or whatever CRM you might use. We give you CSV and Excel files so that way you can automatically upload that stuff. I would tell you, Tony, I have a little secret about our Go High Level integration. It's actually going to get a whole lot better, cheaper, and available to everyone, which is a little bit probably some industry news happening right now. But use this time, use the late summer months to collect the data that you need, and use a system like RetireFlow to do it. And we actually have a discount code with the syndicate. If you use promo code Syndicate40, all caps, you get our traditional surveys for 40% off. So they cost $50 a month, brings it down to $30 a month, all caps, Syndicate40. So for $30 a month, look, you're going to collect the data that you need and go out and build a plan, email it, text it, hit your clients over and over and over and over and over again, get that data that you need. And then use October 1st to October 15th. Get everybody in your office, have a pizza party every night, lock in. That's the zone. That's the time. This is what we do at our home agency. Quote, 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 quote. You've got this data in advance. And by the way, some of it will still continue to come in from October 1st and on. But you've got the data and run your quotes. And for a guy like Tony, who's going to be, I don't want to speak for you, but going to be doing most of this in Connecture, it's going to automatically go in. All that data is going to automatically.
Yeah, talk about that integration for a minute, because when I saw the post on that, like I already use RetireFlow. We love RetireFlow. Everybody here is using it. We're constantly looking at the process to maximize RetireFlow to make sure everybody's getting it done, right? How do we describe it? Do we call it survey? Like we've kind of gotten away from the word survey,
right?
Like nobody likes to really say complete surveys,
right?
So we're like, hey, this is a required intake form. I need you to complete this before the appointment. Super easy. Won't take you but a few minutes. They can do it on their mobile phone. I promise it's not hard. Like our clients are not struggling with it at all.
No, and I get stuff like stories about, wow, this was a really professional way to collect the data. I liked this experience. I mean, putting your drugs into something is not the world's most exciting thing, but okay. So everybody knows now, RetireFlow is here to help you collect the data, but then what do you do with it? And our integration with Connecture is something that it could be. Again, I sound like, not to make this political, but I sound like the president. It's so beautiful. Okay.
No brainer.
It's so beautiful. Okay. So what Connecture is going to do, it's going to identify what carriers you're licensed with and present all of those plans in an easy to use quoting tool that you can use the data that you've collected on RetireFlow. So what that means to an agent is you really have 3 clicks to enrollment. 3 clicks to identifying and then ultimately enrolling that beneficiary in a Part D plan. So when you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, all of this is fruitless work. How do I make it easier on myself? This is the way. You're 3 clicks away from it. Click 1, send that RetireFlow link, send the RetireFlow survey, collect the data from your book. Click 2, That data, because of our awesome integration with Connecture, automatically dumps in and builds out a profile with all the data in all the right spot, where the drugs are, the dosages, your providers, all that good stuff. Puts the scope right where you need it. Right there in that tool. Click 2, quote, sorted by affordability, sorted by MOOP, against all of your carriers that you're licensed with. It is FMO agnostic, our tool that we're going to be talking about called Plan Compare Edge for agents. So your FMO is still going to get credit, but you're going to be able to ultimately run a quote against all of the people that you're licensed with. So if you've got some contracts over here with FMO 1, they're going to show up. And then you got some contracts over here with FMO 2, they're also going to show up, and you can compare them against each other. That's the beauty of this thing. So for the first time ever, I think agents are going to be experiencing sort of a uniform enrollment experience. So they can quote, sort by all of those different factors, which drugs are covered, which doctors are in network, etc. And then lastly, you press enroll. And so what we do at our home agency, we collect all that data all summer long. We spend October 1st to October 15th running quotes, and then we put people in 2 buckets. We got bucket 1, which is no change required or no change recommended. And then bucket 2, which is we need to get this person into our office. They've got a plan change that makes sense for them. We can incur them in savings or help them identify a better situation. And then we might restart a commission cycle. So our home agency has incredibly fruitful AEPs because we don't waste it spinning our wheels. We call October 15th, 16th, and 17th, we call them no change days. So those buckets of people, when I talk,
get all those people out of the way real quick.
We're going to mass communicate with them. And here it's a cooler story, Tony, because it used to be, well, based on the information you told us 3 years ago, we think you can stay put. Now we can say to that client, Susie Senior, you put good in this year. Thank you for completing our survey or whatever you want to call it. Thank you for completing Retire Flow. We've done the research on you. You can stay put. And that's a reassuring feeling for the client because it says, oh, well, I did something. They ran the plan. They did the research. I'm good. I feel comfortable. Whereas in another scenario, they might feel, well, how does Tony know? I've got maybe something changed in my life. I've got different health conditions. I've added a specialist, etc. Now they're going to have the chance to tell you. So it's a very, very, very cool system. And we're just obsessed with how can we help you deliver that to your clients. And that's all we do at Retire Flow.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are some of the best innovators I've seen solving problems for the individual agent. Right. A lot of people are solving problems for themselves, for their agencies there, but you guys are like, hey, we need this for us. And then you know what? Everybody needs this. And you brought it to us, and I applaud you for that. When I saw the announcement on the integration with Connecture, I was immediately asking, I'm like, yo, and the key point that you just said that made it a no-brainer for me to sign up on that side of it or add that on to my Retire Flow subscription was the fact that it's FMO agnostic.
Yeah.
Which Sunfire is not. I like Sunfire a lot. It's what I generally use.
Sure. But
I don't have all my contracts for Medicare Advantage plans with the FMO that provides me Sunfire for free because I can't afford to buy Sunfire. We're doing okay, but we're not running at that level where I can drop 50 grand a year just as an initiation fee plus my fee per app. I'll take it, give it to me for free. So while I can see all my products in there, I can't enroll all my products in there.
Yeah.
I have to bounce to another carrier here and there. And while that's not enormously problematic, it can cause problems because some of the carriers that I don't have on Sunfire, their enrollment platforms just aren't really that streamlined. They're not phenomenal. And then that's another platform that I have to teach my agent, which creates more problems when it comes to scaling because now it's a less duplicable process. Right?
Well, it's like the same reason you go to a grocery store rather than a specialty store. It's like, okay, well, if I can get bread, milk, cheese, and cereal all in one spot, then I don't have to go to like 8 different stores. And
correct, same concept.
We're under pressure, and so that's the cool thing about this. I think for the first time ever, agents are going to be able to have that experience where it's like, I can go run these quotes all in one spot and be confident. And the other thing you mentioned is agent training. Like, what an icky discussion where it's like, okay, well, I got to go. You got to go. If you want this carrier, you got to go click over here. And then you're almost building out like a pamphlet for somebody on how to ultimately enroll somebody in a plan. Rather, with Connecture's brand new Plan Compare Edge for Agents tool, it literally costs, you talked about the cost of these enrollment platforms. They're incredibly expensive. And so what we did with Connecture, and we're really proud of this, is we bundled our two tools together. And it's kind of the agent bundle. That's what it's for. It's for agents. It's one butt in a seat. It's one for Tony, one for somebody who works at his agency. It costs $100 a month flat. That's it. Get your carriers in one spot. Retire Flow feeds it. It's an AEP super weapon. Okay, it does not exist in this industry, and it's something that you can go out, sign up for today. I would always recommend on that case, schedule a time with the Retire Flow team. We'll kick the tires on it, help you identify, okay, who are your carriers? Let's make sure they're in there. All right, awesome. And in every case I've talked to an agent, they are.
They're all in there. Like, they're all in there for the most part. Like, I know you have a couple of stragglers that are still coming on board, but they'll be ready before AEP. But the list of available carriers that are already ready to go, I mean, shop, compare, quote, and enroll on that platform. Like, that was as soon as I saw, I'm like, can I get all my carriers? You're like, yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
And then you're like, here's the list just to double verify it. I don't have all of those carriers. Like, it's a massive list that are all approved on the platform. So if you're an agent, like, it's a no-brainer to me. It's if you're an agent that has anybody, even if you just don't have a bunch of PDP people, but you have a bunch of Medicare Advantage clients that you have to review anyway, shit, you need this tool. It's dope. It is the best tool I've seen so far. And I'm not even getting paid for saying that.
You don't get paid for that. I'm going to steal that.
I got y'all a discount. I've been trying to get a T-shirt out of him for a while. I can't even get that.
It's coming. I got something a little better for you, Tony.
Thank you. But this is absolutely the slickest tool. Now, we have had a couple of questions in the audience, and I'm sure I know the answers, but I just want to throw them out there. A couple of questions were, is this going to be singular to Connecture, or do you have any plans to approach Sunfire or Health Sherpa or anybody else on this type of integration?
You're going to see a slew of integrations that we're about ready to release this summer.
Okay.
I can't really talk about who,
of course,
but these are household name organizations that we cannot wait to work with. There's one that I literally could not be more excited about. I think I would tell you that we've got a little surprise, and I kind of hinted this to Tony that we can't wait to release to the public. And I think people are going to be thrilled. It's something that's never been done before, and we're really proud of it. We've been working hard on it. So you can anticipate this is going to work with your systems regardless, whatever you use. That's kind of the cool thing about Retire Flow. I think, Tony, last AEP, your system was, I think you were doing these enrollments in your FMO provided Sunfire, but you're using Retire Flow to collect the data. And let me talk about that. You're like, well, they don't perfectly integrate. Oh my God. Oh. I hear this from agents all the time. Every agent wants, well, I want my DFY to speak to my Sunfire, to talk to my Levitate, to all this stuff. Guys, take a deep breath. It's okay that your systems don't speak together. They are designed so that way to give you the stuff, especially on the Retire Flow end, to give you what you need to go out and do those things independently. Now, is there like a little bit of manual work associated with that? Yes. Like, it's not going to seamlessly integrate. In fact, I in some cases, I think agents need to focus on serving more people and developing that demand for the integration, so that way we can go out and do it. Now, at the same time, I work all day, all night, thinking about how can we get this data where we need it. So you can anticipate more integrations from us and better ways that you can get the data into the systems that you use. So stay tuned for that. But regardless, you got to collect the data. And so there are free systems that are popping up out there that are Retire Flow like, But sometimes the most expensive things in life, Tony, are free.
Are the free ones, right?
Are the free ones, and they're designed to collect data and silo it and store it in one spot. And not to mention, they're not as good as collecting the data. You saw what our surveys look like. Tony.
Yeah, they're beautiful and they're super quick, short, easy.
Yeah, and so I would just say to you, it's like, well, oh, I get this free thing for my FMO, and that's fine. That's fine. But the difference might be if you invest the $30 a month that it is to invest in Retire Flow, which is not really an investment, more just a paying for your own AEP sanity. You're going to get higher take rates too.
Yeah.
You might pay $30 a month, but 100 more clients might complete it because they're going to see this and it looks professional. It was easy to use. It's not clunky. There's no codes. There's no usernames or passwords required, like some of these other lame ones that we see pop up. And so when you're looking at data and how can I get as much of it before AEP, there is no system better than Retire Flow to help you do that.
Absolutely. And I've already we're not using it full speed yet because I just got signed up with the new bundle, but I started testing it immediately. It works exactly like it's advertised and supposed to. Like I created some profiles, threw in some drugs on Retire Flow, submitted it, got a notification on my I get Plan Edge or whatever it is, basically my Connecture face interface. It's like, hey, Susie Senior just submitted a new profile. And then you click on it and boom, there it is. And it had all of her drugs right there, ready to go. I was like, holy snap. The doctors were in there. Everything was. Yeah. All I had to do was go to plans and be like, there's your plan, enroll. Thank you, Susie.
Thank you, Susie. That's it. And
thank you for being a loyal client. Appreciate you.
Yeah. It almost feels like, am I doing something wrong? Because it's so easy. It's
so simple.
Harder. But I talk about this bundle. I think I don't want to run out of time, but I talk about this bundle. Like I see people release bundles and stuff like that. This is not an app. This is a very abnormal bundle. We worked with a legacy enrollment tool that does not really integrate with anybody. Like Connecture DRX serves hundreds of thousands of agents across the country, captive, not captive, whoever, to deliver this to agents. So this is an abnormal thing that we've developed, and we're really, really proud of it. And I think agents already, even though it's brand new, are starting to see the benefits of it. So we'd love to show it to you. Schedule a time with us at retireflow.com. We'll give you the rundown. We'll get you signed up for literally the exact same thing that Tony has. Tony is the gold standard in our industry about tools and being on the cutting edge of technology. And so if you want what Tony's got, it's available, and it costs $100 a month.
Yeah,
it's really
it's basically half an app.
Yep.
Not even half an app. It's about a third of an app every month.
Right.
If you can't get an extra third of an app every month by using a tool like this,
yeah,
I think you have some other problems. And I want to make one more really good testament of why agents should be using something like this. Even just the Retire Flow front end, let's just ignore the Connecture integration, which is really that's where the real gold is, in my opinion. Sure. But just the Retire Flow survey or intake form. When your clients book an appointment with a new primary care physician or a new specialist or a new dentist or a new rehab therapist or clinic or provider of any sort, certainly when they arrive, they might get a paper intake form, but it is super not uncommon anymore for when they call to make that appointment to get an email or a text that has their intake form right there for that doctor or physician. So if doctors, physicians, dentists, and they're all using a similar thing on a professional level to collect the data to make their process run simpler, why are insurance agents any different? Like we should 100% think about our onboarding process for clients in that hyper professional manner of what we can do to create a true process that's similar to things they're already used to in the other environments, professional front end, and then speeds our job up so that we can take care of more clients more efficiently, make more money, grow our business faster, duplicate at scale, yada, yada, yada. Fair enough?
No, you've got it 100% right. When you go to the doctor's office, You got to fill out that damn clipboard every time, right?
Yeah.
They give it to you. This is that, except in a far more professional, easy to use way.
They load it up on tablets.
Yes.
For anybody that comes in, we just hand them a tablet. Here, run that for us real quick. And then bing, it immediately comes in. And we're like, cool. Hey, thanks. Grace will be right with you.
Yep. There's a reason that Tony uses it. And first of all, we're very, very proud that to serve Avila and Tony's organization. And so it's a big deal for us. We believe in what agents do every day. I'm literally, I'm 29 years old and I have this weird obsession with Medicare intake, ACA intake, maybe soon life insurance.
Well, that's right. You have an ACA intake on there too. We didn't even mention that.
Mm-hmm. Life and annuity intake coming soon to help suss out in your book who might benefit from a life or maybe some sort of final expense plan. So you can expect that from us this summer. But we got a lot of, excuse my French, I feel safe in the syndicate. I don't know why, even though I'm new to this organization, but we got some shit coming. Okay, so stay tuned to what we're up to. But if you got it, we just recommend just having some version of our product. It's going to make your day-to-day life easier. Life's too short to listen to your clients spell levothyroxine over the phone. Use RetireFlow.
There you go. There you go. Man, go get yourself a demo if you're interested. Just go to retireflow.com. Like you said, you can book a demo. Dalton's also active on Facebook. Feel free to look him up there and find him. And then if you do so, after you sign up, I should say, when you sign up, use Syndicate 40, all caps Syndicate 40. That'll save you a few bucks. So thank you again for stopping by, man. I really appreciate it. Great to see you. And I look forward to seeing you sometime this year on the show.
I hope it's soon. I
hope
miss
it's soon as well.
All right. Well, this was a pleasure. Thank you, sir. And I really do mean that. Let's do something soon. I'll just come to Austin. We'll hang out.
Come on. I'm ready.
All right.
See you, buddy.
Thanks, Tony. See you.